In this video, we're going to explore how you can use animations and apply it on the background. And you can see here what really happens here. If you hover over it, it triggers the animation and it does all kind of things. And this, of course, can be quite appealing. It can be also challenging, of course, because it's not always very functional, but for the eye, it is extremely attention grabbing, and it can be useful to make a certain point or to highlight a certain bar, for example, if that is necessary. So let's start to explore how to do this. In this video, we're going to explore how to use Chart.js animations, and specifically how can you change the background color by using animations on a bar chart. And this is quite fun because with this you can do a lot more, and I've covered some other videos about this, but I want to do this one because when you look at it, it's impressive. So first of all, let's start to work on it. So what we're going to do in here, you're going to chartjs3.com and go here to the getting started section, and here just copy all of the information here, or all the code. And if you want to understand the JavaScript, which I cover here, just make sure you watch this video here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this in here, and I will copy all of this title code, put it in here. Alright, there we are, and save this. Once I save this and refresh, we have now our Chart.js, or at least our bar chart, working nicely. So what we're going to do is explore a bit more the animation, because with the animations you can do so much more. So to find the animations, you have to go here to the configurations on the Chartjs 3.5. Right now I'm using the latest version, which is 3.5.0. And in here, you can click here on interactions. Oh, sorry, not in interactions, it's the animations. So once you see this here, you see this sample here, but personally this sample would be of no value to anyone. This looks impressive because it is doing something, but for a user this doesn't make any sense. So what would probably be more nicer is to give it a bit more color on the bar chart and give it some design. And you can see here it has a certain structure. And to understand this structure, basically you need to look at this here. You have the animations and you have the animation here. So this might be confusing, but don't be. We're going to explore this step by step. So first of all, what we're going to do is, what we want to do is, we want to change the background color here. So right now I'm going to comment this out. We're going to put it in here. Basically we can put in here a new item, or we can do it in here. It's one or the other. You can do it in the options for now. That's probably the best one. And in the options, I'll just say here, basically this. We can just copy here. First of all, indicate animations. So we don't do background color, but we say animations. And in the animations, and this is the reason why they're referring here into another animation here without the S. So you would say, why would you have another animation? But it's not referring to an animation as an object. It's you have to specify here what you want to animate. In our case, we want to change the background color. So I'm going to animate the background color. And if we put in here, and then in here, we have to break it down in a few items as well. If we look at those, these are basically the duration, the type of effect, the easing. So basically, this will impact how the animation will work on the chart. Yes, and there are multiple options here. If I scroll down, all of these have a different way. One bounces off, the other one bounces at the beginning, other one at the end. One goes very fast, etc., etc. For now, not that important. All I want to do is to gradually adjust the background color. So we go in here. Let's go back here. We have the duration, easing. We have the delay. Well, we can ignore the delay for us. We can get this one, this, and loop to indicate a loop. And here, we'll have to make sure that we have here as well the type. We need to indicate something. So let me show you. So first of all, we say here duration, and the duration is always in milliseconds. So milliseconds means 1000 milliseconds, or ms, equals 1 second. Alright, so if you want to do 1 second effect, you can do 1000 ms, or milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds. The next one will be the let's see here, what was the easing property, and I will say here very straightforward, we're going to use the linear adjustment. So basically the color will adjust from one color to the other in a gradual linear motion. So it's It's very straightforward, and I will show you some samples later on so you can easily spot the difference. Next, what we have is you have the tool, which will be the starting point, and then you have also the from. And this will be our starting point as well. So, because we're working with background color, and background color is basically a string value here. So if we would do here something else, let's say border width, we're using a number. By default, the type would be basically a number. So it will understand it by default. But if we are using type, the type is by default. Basically, it reads here always a number. But if we have a string, we need to specify the type. So basically, the type would be here number, which is a default setting. Then you have color, boolean, and color, etc., etc. So it's a string value here. We will use it later on. I'll just show you here because, for example, we have the width of the border. And then we put in here a comma, and then we say here, let's make this 10 pixels. And if I save this right now and make sure there's a comma here as well, you should be able to spot this here. And I'm going to comment this out because I'll delete this because I don't want to impact this right now. But I will just keep the background color here so you can see here. Now, as you can see, we get an adjustment here. And if you hover over, that works as well. And probably we should have a loop here. I realize that we're getting the loop. So say loop is true. So now you can see it will loop through consistently based on our duration of 1 second. So if I will slow this down, let's say make this 5 seconds, you will see that it will slow down here. It goes extremely slow. There you are. So what I want to do here now is not specifically the border width, but the border color. So if I just say border color, the background color, and here we could just maybe put back the border width on 1 pixel. If I do this, and I will say here to the starting point, let's make this blue, and I want this eventually converted to red. If I save this and refresh, nothing happens. It gives an error, and the reason why it gives an error is because the type here needs to be set on a specific. By default, it is a number. That's why we didn't have to specify here the type. But here what we can do now is just say type here. And this is a string value, and the string here, what we need is a color. So we say we get a color value, so we'll understand the color, and then it starts to understand the adjustments here. So now as you can see, it starts to adjust, and this is quite nice because as you can see, you can change as well. Well, let's make this a bit more faster moving. Let's do this 2 seconds. Save that, refresh. And now, if I hover over it as well, you can see it starts to adjust itself, but it loops through it consistently. So if you want to change this well, and this looks quite impressive already, because this will grab your attention. It's very attention grabbing or appealing to the eye. So what we're going to do here is the easing. The easing, you can see all these options, and if I click here more, you see all the options. We get the linear, which is the most most common one and straightforward function, which will just gradually adjust from one to the other. But if we do something else here, let's say ease in, out, back, I'm not sure exactly what will happen. It can bounce us off a little bit and then does something. So let's see. If I refresh now, as you can see here now, it bounces up and down. It does certain effects, and it goes it's apparently quite aggressive. So I would not really recommend this effect. But you can see here, this looks like almost like a Christmassy decoration. Quite nice as well. Of course, very aggressive, not recommended. But with this, you can play around with it, and you can do other items as well. This we could do even more deeper if we would like to adjust something else as well. For example, the border color as well. We can remove this one here. Basically, can be removed because now we don't need this. As you can see, we already have the effect here. But of course, your legend will probably not match with that. This should probably remove the color box here. So with this, you can play around and give it a bit more appeal. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.